most?
Well, to be honest, I think David Robinson is a big miss for San Antonio, although he's only averaging 9 points a game this season. His replacement is not going to do much better offensively. But if you look at the other picks for Sacramento, in the loss of Chris Webber, he's their leading scorer, and you think, wow, how can they play without their leading scorer? But they've had 6 players on their team averaging double figures this year. And Chris Webber's replacement, Keon Clark, in the last victory against Seattle just a few nights ago, they blew Seattle out 110-81. Keon Clark, Webber's replacement, second leading scorer, 18 points, 14 rebounds. They won't miss a lot without Webber.
These two teams have played against each other in the regular season. They split the series 1-1, each winning away. So how does that set this game up?
I tell you what it looks like. I mean, each winning the away game almost sounds like the home court doesn't matter. But at the end of the day today, I like Arco Arena. I think it's a tough place to play. And if you remember last year in the Western Conference Finals, if the Kings make free throws, they're tough at home.
And we talk about the San Antonio going for 8 wins in a row. The Spurs are 16-12 in the NBA on the road, which is the 4th best record in the league. Now, the big matchup tonight could come from 2 of the top defenders in the league, San Antonio's Tim Duncan and Sacramento's Keon Clark. Clark is an athletic replacement for the injured Webber. His blocks per game average is excellent, seeing that he usually plays less than half a minute, or half a game, let's say. Duncan is the consummate pro in the league. He's first in blocks, 3rd in rebounding, and 6th in scoring. Clark, a first-round draft pick in the 1998 draft, and Sacramento is the 3rd team that the 5th-year vet has drawn a paycheck from. Last season, he averaged career highs in Toronto with 11.3 points and 7.4 rebounds. He brings athleticism to the Kings. Duncan is only the 2nd player in NBA history to be named to both the All-Defensive Team and All-NBA Team in each of his first 5 seasons. Duncan was a top pick overall in the 1999-1997 draft. 2 years later, in '99, he led the Spurs to their only NBA title, picking up the MVP along the way. He's also the reigning MVP. And you look at these guys and you have to say, Clark has his hands full. You talked about what he did the previous night against Seattle, but on Friday night against the Lakers, Duncan, 28 points, 20 rebounds.
And that's going against Shaquille O'Neal. That means Tim Duncan. We all know, Kevin, he can play against anybody in the world. The good news about Tim Duncan is this past week, he's also accepted to play for Team USA. So as we know, they finished 6th in the World Championships. Now with Tim Duncan saying, I'll play this go-round, I'll play in Puerto Rico, I'll play in Athens, that strengthens the USA squad. How good is he? If he's that strong to strengthen one of the top sides in the world, then on his team, he may be one of the premier players in NBA history.
So in saying that, what will the Kings consider a good game from Clark?
Well, I think Keon's got to try to hold Tim Duncan under 25. If you let him get going 28, 30, 32, you're in trouble. Hold him under 25, because at the end of the day, if you look around Tim Duncan, they don't have a lot of offensive firepower. Remember, San Antonio are I think the league's best defensive team. They're 3rd in points allowed. They give up the 3rd lowest points, but that's also because they score a lot of points. But at the end of the day, they are 1st in defensive field goal percentage. Their opponents only tend to make about 41% of their shots, and they lead the league in block shots. Those 2 categories right there say best team defensively in the NBA. So tonight, I think what Sacramento have to do, run, gun, have fun, and outscore the San Antonio Spurs.
So who's going to win the game?
It's at Arco Arena. The Kings have more weapons offensively. Even without Chris Webber, I like the Kings.
And the Kings, you talked about averaging 103 points a game at home, so they're getting it done on their home surface. But let's look and say the bench comparison. Because some stage these teams have to go to the bench. Where do you see the advantage?
Well, I still like the Kings because at the end of the day, you and I talked about this a few minutes ago. Their starters have missed 71 games this year. People are saying the Los Angeles Lakers have had injury problems. Kevin, the Lakers are barely over 500 with injury problems. Look at this team. The Sacramento Kings are 34-17 with 71 games missed from starting players. How good can they be? If those starters are out at the end of the season, they may be as good as Dallas, as good as San Antonio, and certainly as good as L.A.
Okay, so the matchup at the point guard position is going to be a doozy. Mike Bibby exploded onto the scene last season during the playoffs versus the Lakers, and Tony Parker, the 2nd-year Frenchman, has shown that he belongs in the NBA. Both players are in their second seasons with their respective teams. All of Parker's numbers are an improvement, and the Spurs prefer when he's playing aggressive and attacking the hoop. Looking at Bibby's stats, despite being injured early in the season, he's on track for his most productive campaign. Parker, who made the All-Rookie team last season, was the 28th pick in the 2001 draft. He ranked 17th overall in assists. The 20-year-old former Racing Paris star is on his way to becoming the first Frenchman to play in the NBA All-Star game, and expect that very, very soon. Mike Bibby was balled up in the sport. His father, Henry, played in the NBA for 9 seasons. I would describe Bibby's style as a smooth point guard. He doesn't have the quickness of an Allen Iverson, but he plays within his skills and is very effective shooting the jump shot and creating easy baskets for his teammates. Here it is, Bibby putting in. That's how you create for your teammate. You know, every time I see Bibby, I think about his dad, Henry. I mean, you know, son, yes, he looks like him, but his style of playing just like Henry Bibby.
Absolutely. And again, you think his dad was a very successful NBA player, and look at the amount of success that Mike Bibby's already had in the NBA.
Yep.
But you talk about a great matchup tonight, Kevin. These are two young players, both with different roads to success. Obviously, as you said, Mike grew up in the shadow of an NBA father, and here's Tony coming from France.
Yep.
Both average a little over 15.5 points per game. Both average 5.5 assists per game. Maybe it's the players around them that are different, but the two of them head-to-head should be a marquee matchup.
You're looking at these two guys. You talk about averaging points, and here you have the youngster from France. Is he ready to lead that team to a title, being second year, new to this type and style of basketball?
I don't know that he's ready to lead them to a title. I mean, at the end of the day, I like his game. I like his floor leadership, but I'm not sure if he's got the experience behind him from the European game that says, I can lead my team. A lot of the European players are great players, Kevin, but you know as well as I do that the European system is so different than the NBA system. So once you come into the new NBA system, it's, okay, Dirk Nowitzki can play because he's a forward. He's a post player. He does things the same in Europe as he does here. But a point guard trying to lead a European half-court offense, now being thrust into an NBA full-court offense, totally different set of rules. At the end of the day, I'm not sure he's ready for that task yet. They're good, but I don't believe they're championship caliber quite yet.
The San Antonio Spurs like him to be aggressive. Talking about Parker, trying to get to the basket, trying to make things happen. Ideal position for a point guard?
Yeah, I think so, because I think today's point guards, more of them like, I mean, I've got one in Tim Wynn, who plays for me, who's only about 5'5", but he loves to go to the basket. Point guards like the freedom to penetrate, because when they penetrate, they feel either they can get something for themselves or they can, as you said before in the highlight, create for a teammate. So giving him that attacking, aggressive mentality is probably something he didn't get at PSG.
Bibby, we talked about him being injured. Since he's come back and taken over the starting range, their team, they're 13-9. Do you expect that to come on to the increase, or is it a case of he has to get himself back in shape because he did miss a lot of time?
He missed a lot of time, but I also think it's about the guys that are missing around him, Kevin, not just Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby's probably in great form and great shape. I know him a little bit. I've met him before as an individual. And the thing is about Mike Bibby, when I met him before, when he was a college player, you know, his coach told me that, Billy, this guy lives in the gym. When practice is over, if he's not studying, he's in the weight room. He's in the gym shooting more shots, trying to become a better shooter. But you got to remember, while Mike Bibby has come back, Bobby Jackson was out with injury. Chris Webber's out with injury. Now, Bobby Jackson's just returned. Webber hopefully will be back soon.
Okay, so as we said earlier, the Kings are all about offense, and in Peja Stojakovic, they have one of the league's most deadly shooters. Stojakovic has had a few injury woes this season. His stats are slightly down from his last campaign, but the two-time All-Star still gets plenty of respect. Stojakovic has won the NBA All-Star three-point shooting contest for the past 2 years. Peja is a very difficult player to guard because he has enough ball handling skills to drive to the basket, but he prefers to shoot the jump shots. In 5 seasons, he has yet to foul out of a game. So in 5 seasons, yet to foul out of a game, that could be a loaded stat.
Well, he's coming along with Michael Jordan, Kevin. I mean, Jordan fouled out last week, and you and I were laughing before the telecast. That's the first time Jordan's fouled out since 1992. And remember, referees in the NBA do like to see the stars stick around for the whole 48 minutes. because the fans pay to see the superstars. Loaded in two ways.
Yep.
Probably the officials give him some slack. They want him to stick around to entertain for the whole game. Number two, he may not be the league's greatest defensive player.
You know, here you have a guy where people talk about he shoots the jump shot. He likes to shoot the jump shot. So why don't people just take that away from him?
Well, in the NBA, Kevin, the rules make it difficult sometimes to take things away. Again, you know, in FIBA rules, people that watch European basketball or watch the game here in England, we can play zone defenses. We can change defense. We can do a lot of things in the defensive mentality. And offensive players have a lot less to worry about. Whereas in the NBA, players are a lot of one-on-one basketball.
Yep.
There is illegal defenses. You're allowed to play zones now, but zones with a lot of rules around them. Again, saying, no, you can play zone, but not that kind of zone. You can stand here, but you can't stand there for more than 3 seconds. You can be on this side of the floor if your man's here, but if he's not, you've got to step over to this side of the floor. That creates marquee individual matchups. So team defense stops great players. One-on-one, it's tough to take any great player out of his game.
How would you compare, let's say, a Stojakovic to Nowitzki?
Well, I think Dirk Nowitzki's more, we were talking about him again tonight, Kevin, and I think Dirk Nowitzki is a Larry Bird with speed and athleticism.
Yep.
Nowitzki's got a complete game, whereas I think Stojakovic, on the other hand, is a pure shooter. He is a guy that, you know, he's just going to shoot the ball every night. And he's such a good shooter. You know, he's got a radar. You can put both hands in his face. You can put horse blinders on him, and he's probably still going to find the rim with the basket.
Okay, thanks for that. Now, last season, Sacramento's 6'1" backup guard, Bobby Jackson, was a top candidate for the Six-Man Award. This season, he's challenging for the Most Improved Player Award. Jackson is just returning from injury. He was out for 22 games, and without him, they were 13-9. He leads the team in free throws and field goal percentages. Jackson is what they call a tough cookie. He doesn't back down, and many believe that if the team had followed his example in the playoffs last season, they would be NBA champs. He shoots, drives, rebounds, and he also plays defense. Am I right to say, Billy, that the rest of the Sacramento Kings didn't display the toughness against the Lakers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look back last year in the Western Conference Finals, I was sitting right here at this desk, you and I, doing that game.
Yep.
And if you remember, I think there's two things that killed them in that series. Number one, in Game 5 in L.A., remember, Robert Horry hits a last-second prayer, a Hail Mary, that I'm sure to this day Robert Horry is still thanking God for every night on his knees. Now, that gets them to Game 6.
Yep.
And then, even though they lose Game 6, it set up a Game 7. In Game 7, in Arco Arena, where we are tonight, in that series, Sacramento, in my opinion, outplayed the Lakers. But they missed 20-odd free throws that night. And at the NBA level in big games, if you can't make free throws, you're not going to win. Now, conversely, you look at them this year, they've got guys that make free throws. And I think maybe that's a maturity from, you know, maybe if we'd made free throws at home in Game 7, we'd have won the NBA championship.
Yeah, especially at home. I mean, you know, if you miss them on the road, then you might give them a, you know, but to miss them at home is a tough one. But, you know, staying on Bobby Jackson, released from Denver. I have a buddy of mine who has a close friend who was the general manager of Denver at that time. He said they released Bobby Jackson because he wasn't a point guard.
Well, you know, you bring Bobby Jackson to Sacramento, and you can say two things. He can be a backup to Mike Bibby, or he can play beside Mike Bibby. I mean, Bobby Jackson isn't getting all the points he's been scoring and the great things he's been doing simply as Mike Bibby's backup. They're a pretty good tandem out there together. And, I mean, when he was in Minnesota in college, Bobby Jackson was one of the top guards in his conference and top guard nationally. And people kept saying that if this guy gets time in the NBA, he's going to produce even bigger numbers. He's shown that so far. I think if he can stay away from injury, Kevin, I think he's one of those true combo guards that can play a little point guard, play a little two guard, but you'd rather have him on your team than play against him.
And, you know, they specialize and they go, he can't play the point guard position. What about this guy as a player? Let's find a way to get him on the court. With Sacramento, they do. They just take him. This is what Bobby Jackson brings us. Let's take advantage of it.
But you look back, that goes to that offensive theory, doesn't it? We're going to put 5 guys out there on the floor. Forget about position. Is this guy true point? Is this guy true center? We don't care. We want 5 guys out there that are all capable of scoring 20 points. Hence, you'll average over 100 points a game.
Since Chris Webber's been out January 28th, he injured himself there, Sacramento is 4-3. You know, you look for this guy to finally come back in. And, you know, when he comes off that injury, if you're the coach, is it a slow process of getting him back in the lineup and trying to make sure that he survives for the playoffs? So you say, let's stick him back in there.
I like that question because people always ask that, Kevin, about when a guy's been out a long time.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, do we work him back into the lineup?
And there's a lineup, the starters for the game today.
Well, there's Keon Clark again, who will be stepping up for the injured Chris Webber we're talking about. But you got to look around him. Vlade Divac, one of the most experienced players in the NBA, and 3 great scorers.
Okay, tonight's game in Sacramento has been dedicated to the franchise's greatest ever player, Oscar Robertson, who still holds many of the franchise's scoring records he set with the Cincinnati Royals in the 1960s. By way of a tribute, the Kings will be wearing the uniforms from the 1964-65 Cincinnati side, but the biggest tribute of them all would be a victory over San Antonio. If there's the man, Oscar Robertson, himself sitting down. Let's head over to the Arco Center, where they're getting ready to tip this one off.
Those socks down a little bit, big boy. The big
We got a lot of knee highs going on.
It's how you play.
Oh, my.
Quit judging people by appearances.
Thank goodness it's how you play and not how you look, or you two would have been in trouble from the get-go. We're underway.
And Vlade with the quick play of the game.
Christie inside. Willis lost the handle. Christie gets it back. Stojakovic, he's the guy that's picked up the scoring slack with Chris Webber out, but he missed a reverse layup, and it's San Antonio's first trip down.
Tempo will be critical. Sacramento wants it wide open, lots of threes. San Antonio, they've got to pound it inside to Duncan.
Parker lost it, stripped by Bibby. Out of bounds. And they're going to say out of bounds to Sacramento. The matchup is the 3rd of the year between these two teams, and each is one on the other's home floor.
Well, I think critical in the early going. San Antonio certainly doesn't want the game to get into the 110, 115, but they're an opportunity running team. They will try to get the ball out to Tony Parker, get up and see if they can find some easy buckets on the road.
Christie got an open look. Got it.
Always a great sign when Doug Christie is assertive on the offensive end and is putting up shots, and if some of them can go down, Sacramento virtually unbeatable.
Stojakovic with a rebound.
You don't think of him as a rebounder much, do you? Think of him as a shooting guard. The guy had 14 rebounds twice in the last 18 games.
Stojakovic has never played better ball. He's defending, he's rebounding.
Shooting over 51% from the three-point line the last 18. The last 18, he's just been unbelievable.
He shot even better than that in the All-Star three-point contest. Parker on the baseline.
If you can get Kevin Willis to drop dimes like that, that will really open up San Antonio's set offense.
Bibby. Nice give and go to Clark.
Oh, there's Inspector Gadget right there on the receiving end. That guy's got arms that is absolutely go forever. Ooh, Inspector, forget it. I'm not going to keep explaining stuff to you as we go. You have to look
Who
it up.
does he play for?
Look it up after the show, okay?
Bowen outside.
Oh,
Brick.
Just missed.
Christie, another rebound.
When you can hear it before you see it, you know that's a bad shot.
Stojakovic, triple, got it!
Bruce Bowen, the unenviable task of Kobe Bryant Friday night, game you did, Tom, and now Peja Stojakovic. Yikes.
6-point early lead.
That's a very difficult shot. Unless you're Larry Bird.
Well, it's never a good shot to just stand out there and shoot the three. You want it to come off penetration, draw, and kick.
Bibby around a pick. Over Parker. Didn't get the roll.
Just hasn't been there for Mike Bibby this year. The importance of training camp. He had the serious injury that required the foot operation, the insertion of a screw with a stress fracture.
Missed 27 games early in the season. Luckily for Sacramento, they had Bobby Jackson in reserve for much of that time. Here's Bibby trying to go all the way coast to coast. That one came out as well.
You want to attack Tony Parker. Don't let him just rest. So Bibby, even though he's not shooting well, has to keep attacking.
Parker on a runner. Vlade Divac pulls it out to Bibby. It's 3-on-2 for the Kings.
Beautiful return.
Wide open look. Still can't find it.
Wow. Greg Popovich telling us before the game that transition defense is the critical aspect for San Antonio this afternoon. As well as the perimeter guys need to rebound. Don't just leave it all up to Duncan Willis and Malik Rose.
A sour 1 for 6 for the Spurs to open. Finally, Duncan touches it and hooks it. 1 for 7 for San Antonio.
Has there been a whistle in this game?
Just you two whistling each other before it started. Willis outside. Kevin Willis.
Willis with a monster game Friday night. He can get 29 minutes and a whole bunch of rebounds out of Willis against Shaq and not be in foul trouble. That's a contribution. How old is that guy now?
Anytime he steps on the court, it's a monster game.
He's one of the 40-year-old set.
He's got 5 rebounds already, Kevin Willis.
4 on the shot clock. Stojakovic trying to get away from Bowen. Got it.
Tip your do-rag to him. Say, nice shot, my friend. As well as I can play you.
How about dunking in the post?
How about it? I like
Finally,
that
they
option.
get it to him.
Quick double team, though. You have to move the ball. Ooh, ouch.
Clark will clear it off to Bibby. Kings by 6. 7:20 to go first quarter. Lottie. And he'll go to the line. 4th person on our team, courtside. Let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Brad, well, I spoke with Greg Popovich before the game, asked him what the key to this road success has been, and he said if you put aside the excellence of Tim Duncan, which they always count on, Tony Parker's ability to score, run the team, and keep things organized has been critical. As for the Kings, they expect an enormous defensive challenge from the Spurs. Pete Carrill, assistant, told me he thinks that San Antonio is the best defensive team in the league, and in terms of guarding Tim Duncan, well, they'll continue to double him, but really rely on Doug Christie's defense on the perimeter to disrupt things, Brad.
Well, Rick Adelman's team, number 2 in the league in field goal defense. Right now, it's an 8-point game.
Well, someone's going to need to mix in a make here for the San Antonio Spurs. Here's one of those games you get behind early at the end of a long road trip. It could end up being a long day.
And I asked Popovich about that today, and he said there's always that concern that you had the huge win at Staples against the Lakers on Friday night. The emotions. Greg Popovich in the locker room said, guys, we've got to stay humble. We have done nothing yet. We got to be building momentum as we head toward the playoffs right now. Don't get overconfident. A careless turnover.
There's a guy that leads the league in steals, but he gave it back.
And look at all the Kings down there. Good luck.
Greg Popovich needs a timeout. Things are falling apart quickly for San Antonio.
6 straight points for Sacramento. They run out to a 10-point lead at home with 6:51 remaining first quarter.
It's a clash of the promotion favorites.
That is brilliant. It is surely going to be their year.
But who will go up as champions? Nationwide football, Leicester Portsmouth tomorrow at 7 live on Sky Sports 1.
Just stay in its tracks.
Just stay in its tracks.
The Jaguar X-Type 2.5 and 3 litre. 4-wheel drive fitted as standard.
There's more for your place at our place in MFI's biggest ever sale. More outstanding value across every room in the house with up to 50% off. Plus, we pay your VAT on all sale prices, from the kitchen to the bedroom. Yes, it's VAT-free sale prices. From your dining room to your bathroom. From a home office to a new sofa. More and more for less and less in MFI's biggest ever sale. Offer ends February 19th.
Next weekend, a Premiership double. In Ford Football Special, it's Everton versus Southampton. Next Saturday, midday, Sky Sports 1. Then, Ford Super Sunday sees Birmingham take on Liverpool. Next Sunday at 3, Sky Sports 1.
We talked about Keon Clark in the pregame, and he's making an impact right now. Sub for Chris Webber, and there he goes off the pick and roll, slamming, but not only doing it on the offensive end, Billy, on the defensive end as well.
Well, we're talking about the tough job he's got guarding Tim Duncan, trying to hold him under 25, and right here, great block shot from Keon Clark.
And we talked about, we see the points, the rebounds. You don't see the block shots, but he's averaging over 2 blocks a game, only plays 23 minutes per contest, which is outstanding. So far in this game now, he has 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 block. And we'll look at the audience at the Arco Center. They have to be really excited about what the Kings are doing right now. But you talk about
in 3 weeks since the San Antonio Spurs have actually been in San Antonio, but after today they will head back after what has been a grueling 9-game road trip. After losing the first one at Minnesota, the Spurs rattled off 7 straight road wins, an NBA record. Those wins have included defeats of the Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, Portland Trail Blazers, LA Lakers. Greg Popovich told me today's final stop is not a must-win, but he'll gauge the aggressiveness of his young players to make certain the success of this trip, guys, has not left them feeling complacent. Back to you.
They didn't have that charter. They have some great frequent flyer miles on that thing, wouldn't they?
The win at Portland was remarkable because Portland had been playing so well. The game went to overtime, and then a couple days off, and then just taking the ball right at Shaquille O'Neal, as Duncan needs to do here.
And does over Clark. First basket for the reigning MVP.
Okay, the one concern, I think, if you're San Antonio, the play before the timeout, Doug Christie lost the ball on that break, and there were only 2 Spurs down there hustling to get back while there were 4 Kings. That energy right there, lack thereof, could be problematic.
Vlade Divac again puts it back to a 10-point game.
The edge that you develop playing on the road, where you realize how difficult it is each and every night. Finally, somebody makes a play for the Spurs.
Steven Jackson is averaging about 12 a game with his first basket. Bibby, nice crossover. Clark is open and got it. Well, you talked about him, Bill. Keon Clark has to play well. He's certainly off to a great start.
And he's attacking on the offensive end. Not notably his game. Another turnover. 14 possessions for San Antonio. They've only scored 3 times. 3 turnovers. They're not shooting the ball well.
They've hit 4 field goals is all, as Stojakovic was alone underneath. Bowen fouls him. Remember, we said it's retro jersey day. Keon Clark, he took it to another level when he came out in the pregame. I really don't think that particular hairdo was going on in 64-65, which was the jerseys we had, but close enough.
10 years later,
yeah,
definitely.
The Mod Squad. You used to hang out with a lot of guys who had hair like that, didn't you, Bill?
Still do.
Now, no one has hair like that anymore.
Depends on where you go,
like
Tom.
that anymore. Well, wherever you go,
maybe Ben Wallace
probably won't find it. Yeah, when he blows out those cornrows, those look pretty nice. I enjoy that.
11 points. Stojakovic hits the free throws. He's off to a 7-point start, and the lead swells to a dozen.
San Antonio needs to try to get Clark into foul trouble.
Duncan against Divac.
Come up Ginobili.
There's a double team by Stojakovic. 6 on the shot clock. Duncan got it back. Didn't get it down, but he did draw a foul. Divac with the foul, his first. Log on to NBA.com to check out the top plays of the week in Courtside Countdown, only on NBA.com.
In asking Greg Popovich about Tim Duncan's growth since he was the Finals MVP in the year before Shaq, Phil Jackson, and Kobe started taking over, first thing out of his mouth was the leadership in the huddles in terms of telling guys what to do. In those days, that team in '99 was David Robinson, Avery Johnson leading the way, and Duncan was an incredibly great player, but not the guy that pulled it all together and instructed the young players what to do. He's doing that every time.
Well, that's because he was respectful back then. He didn't want to step on David Robinson's feet. That's the type of guy he is.
Divac tried to lob it to Clark and threw it away.
He's still respectful. He was the first guy over there to see Oscar Robertson today. And what a transition from the Big O to Tim Duncan.
Baseline jumper, Duncan with a rebound. 6 for Duncan.
What hands? What a mind. Is there a smarter player in the game right now?
Stojakovic misses outside. Most of the Kings' points, 17 of their 20, have come from their front court players so far.
John Stockton's pretty smart.
Absolutely. As is Michael Jordan.
Fourth turnover. Sold out Arco Arena is always the case. 157 straight sellouts. This team has won more games in the last 4 years here than any other NBA team has on their own floor, and they're off to a good start here this afternoon.
Duncan wants a double dribble. They're calling a kick ball violation on Vlade. Rick Adelman cannot believe it. One thing I know is I had a great time at Vlade's restaurant last night, Tunnel 21. That place is hot.
Yes, it is. And the line is still 2 miles long outside the place.
It was very hot. I had those generators on the back of my neck. I thought they're going to bring out the salmon and kick it on the back of my neck.
You had a sunburn before we got out of there.
Parker's shot does not look good. This guy has been putting up huge numbers, and when he scores more than 20 points, San Antonio's undefeated on the season.
Bibby, great drive inside.
Well, he can get to the middle as well as anybody. When he wants to, left hand, right hand.
Parker this guy comes back and has an answer.
Is there a faster player in the league than Tony Parker?
It's got to be Speedy Claxton, doesn't it? If your name's Speedy, you got to be fast. I would think.
Speedy hasn't played much this year.
He on lead.
Oh.
Good move, didn't finish it.
Sacramento's doing the right thing. They're attacking Parker and Duncan on the defensive end, trying to wear him down, pick him up in foul trouble.
What a gill to Duncan from Ginobili. Great pass.
The ability to release early and not hang out there. The game, which has become a pick and step back for three-point bombs, is now with Tim Duncan. Let's get to the hoop and see who can throw it down.
Those shorts aren't the kind you sweat through, are they?
What shorts are those?
I have to lead you along. I mean, what do you mean with shorts? Shorts they're wearing.
Jimmy Jackson into the lineup, too, for Sacramento.
If you're not sweating in this game, time to rethink your career.
Bobby Jackson in, too, and his first shot's off the mark.
That's a big fella handling the ball. That was about far enough, though.
Nice pass.
Stojakovic will run with Jackson and Christie. And Christie, offensive foul.
Get out of here.
That's a great call by Steve Jaffe. Cleared him out with the left hand.
No basket. Lead is sliced to 7 by the Spurs, who try to make a move with 2:43 to go in the quarter. You're watching the NBA on ABC Sports Championship Television.
A lot of numbers for Sacramento. Just lay that ball right back. The guy's running away, backing up. The left hand clear out. Easy play to call.
2:43 in the first quarter. Sacramento by 7.
It's a good game so far, and if you want to, any questions, any queries, hit us NBA@SkySports.com, NBA@SkySports.com. We love to hear from you. We talked about before the game, Stojakovic, Bruce Bowen. I mean, he has to play some players week in and week out.
Would you want to be Bruce Bowen this week?
Yes, I think so, for the paycheck.
On Friday night, Bruce Bowen is in Los Angeles guarding Kobe Bryant. Kobe has 40-something against him, but they did win the game.
Yep.
Now tonight, his task is to guard Peja Stojakovic, premier shooter in the NBA.
Another all-star.
Maybe the best shooter in the world today, Kevin.
And then Stojakovic hitting one from deep on him. And, you look at that and you say, put a hand up or do something. But this time he puts a hand up.
Oh, he's in his face there, Kevin. I mean, that's not just a great shot. That's what we talked about earlier about those horse blinders. He knew where the rim was. With a hand in his face, back to the basket. He turns around, goes up, still finds the basket.
San Antonio, the last couple seasons, well, before Parker got there, they had Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson versus Tony Parker.
Well, I think Avery Johnson was a very popular player in San Antonio. The fans liked him, and, they were a very successful team throughout his leadership period there. And when Tony Parker first came in, I think there was a bit of animosity there because he was new and a rookie.
And what he does is he gives them a lot more speed and tempo than what Avery Johnson could.
Well, I also think potentially he's a better offensive player than Avery Johnson. Avery was a great runabout, worm on the floor, water bug everywhere, but not a great shooter. That was Avery's one weakness.
Duncan, 9 points so far in the game. You know, Keon Clark has his hands full, but Duncan just gets it done.
He does, but on the last play that we just scored there before the timeout, you can't blame Keon Clark.
Yeah.
There was a play where Tony Parker beat his man, went around Stojakovic. It was a mismatch there, and they tried to double. So Keon Clark had to go out, double the ball, good pass, feed in, and there was Tim Duncan left alone for the dunk.
I think you made a point there. Avery Johnson, if Stojakovic makes the switch, he can't get by Stojakovic. Tony Parker can get by Stojakovic.
Absolutely. There's no question there. And, of course, not only does he get by him, but in the adversity of Keon Clark, big 6'10" athlete coming at him, he still finds the mentality of saying, I'm going to find Tim Duncan. Because I guarantee you, every time Tony Parker crosses half court, the first thought in his mind is, how do I find Tim Duncan?
Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, the coach, said, this is not a must-win. You buying that one?
Hey,
you know,
every
7 in a row.
Every game in the NBA is a must-win, especially when you're trying to take a young team, turn them into a champion. The more you win on the road against teams like Sacramento, Sacramento's going to be there or thereabouts, the old British saying. When this thing's all done and dusted, they'll be there. Every win is a good win, especially at Sacramento.
Doug Christie just hit one there. ABC is providing these pictures, and we're seeing the game from a completely different angle here. This is the closest a lot of people have been to the rim, Billy.
Well, I was also going to say, we're watching the game from above the rim. Most guys in the NBA play the game above the rim. Now our fans in England are getting to see the game above the rim, as we just saw another basket.
Nice penetration there and kick out, and that's what you want to have, is to draw the defenders. San Antonio, probably a decent set of shooters standing still.
Yeah, they are. At the end of the day, Tony Parker's a good shooter standing still. Steven Jackson's a very good standstill, spot-up shooter. But they're not the best. You're not going to find San Antonio's guards actually coming off of picks or turning around one-on-one like Stojakovic can do, with a hand in their face and back to the basket. Can they create a shot? No, they can't. That's when they look for Tim Duncan.
Okay, we're still trying to get the pictures sorted in. ABC is providing those pictures, so we're trying to get that taken care of. As soon as we can, we'll be back to the game. Let's talk about a guy like Bruce Bowen. Here you have a guy whose specialty is to become and to take on the toughest players in the NBA night in and night out. When he's out there, do you have to feed him enough offense just to keep him motivated, because he's getting torched defensively?
Well, I tell you, you made the statement earlier. I think his paycheck is his motivation.
Okay.
Probably he don't care whether he scores or not, just will I get paid this month? And what he gets paid with all those zeros, all those figures, you talk 6 figures, he's on a 7-figure contract. And so that motivates him to say, you only play defense for 7 figures, I'll play defense. And I think that's the kind of player he is. What's amazing, Kevin, is that in today's professional sports world, in the NBA, you can have a role player like that. Because Bruce Bowen could play loads of places in Europe as one of 2 foreign players and probably get cut, because he's not good enough offensively to play as a foreign player in Europe. But then he can make 7 figures on a winning NBA basketball team.
You know, it's a case of, you know, a lot of times people talk about, you know, this guy didn't make the NBA, he must not have it. But for me, the NBA, in a lot of occasions, is right place, right time, fitting a need. Bruce Bowen fits a need with this team. But, I mean, it's interesting to see that Popovich has taken a team and said, this is what I need. I don't need a 3-man right at this moment who can score a lot of points. What I need is a 3-man who can play the defensive end of the ball.
Absolutely, and they are a defensive-oriented team. They're winning with defense. They're not outscoring their opponents every night, but they're making sure their opponents don't make a lot of shots. Now, if you're Bruce Bowen, You think, great, they're orienting this team to defense. I'm a defensive specialist. Except the fact of the matter is, the guy that Bruce Bowen guards every night scores the most points.
Yeah.
Because they're putting him on the toughest guy. He's the defensive stopper, the defensive specialist, but the other 4 guys out there are doing a great defensive job because they're holding people down even greater extent than Bruce Bowen is. I'll tell you the other thing about being in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Damon Jones,
Yeah.
A guard for the Sacramento Kings, used to play with the New Jersey Nets. He's bounced around a few teams.
Damon has been with 8 different teams, in a short career, yes.
Well, he played with Kenya Capers, who plays for me at Leicester now, and he played with Kenya at the University of Houston, and he was a backup there. He wasn't a front-line player, wasn't the best guy, didn't set all the best records, but then he went out and played a bit of minor league basketball and developed. And NBA scouts saw him and said, we'll take this guy, basically because he's a tremendous athlete who can really shoot the 3. And again, with Sacramento this season, coming off the bench, he's making 37% of his threes. He's already hit 44 out of 121. So it gives him a little bit more three-point firepower coming off the bench.
And the ABC pitchers, we're having a little bit difficulty. As soon as everything comes together, we will get back to the action. Malik Rose, here's a guy that comes off the bench, does a good job for San Antonio, but this summer they signed him for $42 million. I just didn't see that.
I still don't see it.
Yeah.
This summer, you know, how do you spend that kind of money? I don't care what kind of job he does.
Yeah.
How do you spend that kind of money on a guy coming off the bench?
Yes.
That you potentially, I've read everything on him that they've put out, and I don't even see them potentially saying, but he's going to be a starter. He's going to take over this team. He's going to do this. I don't even see that. So to pay that again for a backup player, a role player, I think is a waste of money.
And, you know, Tim Duncan, but I guess when you have a guy like Tim Duncan, they make a few mistakes around him to try to get the other players, other players involved. And, Duncan, very early in the game, we had Duncan here making plays happen. I mean, when you get that close and after you've had your shot blocked, that's the alternative is I got to go slam the ball. And looking at the profile of Tim Duncan, averaging 23 points. And the thing with Duncan is throughout his career, he's averaged between 21 and 25 points a game. So game in, game out, year in and year out, you know what you're going to get from Tim Duncan.
Ever since he left Wake Forest University and came to the NBA, he's been on his way to the NBA Hall of Fame. He's one of the most prolific NBA power forward, center, whatever you want to call him, because next to David Robinson, he's their power forward.
Yep.
Tonight, he's their center. But, people talk about Shaq being a dominant center. I think Tim Duncan has been a dominant power forward in the NBA, and I do believe he's on his way to the NBA Hall of Fame because never in the history of the game has there been a 7-footer with his smoothness around the basket and consistently offensively, defensively getting it done.
Okay, thanks for that. Scores 31-26. The Sacramento Kings are winning. We'll be right back after this break.
On the pitch, we worship them.
Ferdinand! Sheringham! Freddie Youngberg!
Off the pitch, we know little about them.
Maybe I might get married, maybe I won't.
Rio, Teddy, Freddie. We get intimate with 3 gods of the game, on and off the pitch.
Maybe the hair will fall off one day.
The all-new documentary series.
I don't do this every day, This is a one-off.
Starts with Rio Ferdinand, close up, 9 o'clock next, Sky One Sunday.
Everyone knows a Sprite is a thirst-quenching soft drink.
Your sandwich and Sprite.
You may not know, it's also a sort of goblin. This Sprite won't do much for your thirst. But it does like a good Western. Only one Sprite's right. Obey your thirst.
With car insurance from More Than, you can protect your maximum no-claim bonus for life, whatever happens.
Lucky?
That's more than lucky. To protect your no-claim bonus for life, don't accept less than More Than. Call 0800 300 202.
Run for your lives. It's Eight-Legged Freaks. Buy it, rent it on DVD and video from Monday.
Car insurance, don't accept less than More Than. Get £30 off only when you buy online at morethan.com. Hurry now.
Thanks for keeping it here. Sorry about the problems, but we do have pitchers now. We'll get back over to Sacramento for the start of the second quarter. Score is 31-26. The Kings lead.
There's the numbers through the first quarter. Kind of surprising considering the start the Spurs had.
Oscar Robertson was one of the few guys who was ever the best at every single level. High school, college, professional, Olympic, 3-time college player of the year. Ginobili, 9 points to 10 points. They called it a 3.
31-29. Bibby around a Divac's pick, got an opening.
Well, that's a tough one for Kerr to keep up with. Keep chasing him down and running him. And I think Mike Bibby against Steve Kerr can try to get to where he wants to get and get off some shots in the 10 to 14-foot range.
Ginobili had that blocked en route. Bibby looking to run. Jackson looks at his good feet on the three-point line.
Kings have hit their last 5 shots.
Turkoglu inside. Tim Duncan will clear off the miss.
It's amazing when you see guys like Turkoglu and Stojakovic driving the lane and going up over Duncan. When you think of these guys, you think 6'7", 6'6". These guys are 6'10". They're big guys.
Tim Duncan has never blocked shots at the rate he's doing this season. I love the inside pivot and the glass.
Oh, he uses the glass better than anybody around. Duncan with 11.
Chris Webber likes the glass a lot.
Chris Webber not in the lineup, as we talked about. Out with the same ankle problem.
Oh, Vlade behind the head, drop back to Bobby Jackson was wide open.
Vlade trying to find some room, had it stripped out of there. 3 on the shot clock. He gets it back on the baseline. Let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Brad, during the timeout, Greg Popovich has been really complimentary of the way his team is hanging in. But he said, we're playing a little too fast. We don't play as fast as they do. Just slow down and take your time. Have you seen any change of pace, guys?
It's a little helter-skelter on their end.
When Sacramento took Keon Clark out, things changed. Duncan gets away with a push-off to create space.
They can't leave him open. Well, that's the thing. We talked about it earlier. San Antonio can run, but they have the speed guys. Now, not with the personnel they have out there now, but you just can't run all the time. And great defensive play by Rose. But you can't get into a 120, 115 game with these guys at home. I mean, generally, you're going to end up on the losing end of the stick.
They won that type of game in the overtime tilt the first night out against Portland after a brutal travel for Tony Parker and Tim Duncan coming home from the All-Star weekend.
The San Antonio team's the club that handed the Kings their first home loss of the year. And they're back to within 2 in this one.
Well, only 3 other teams have done that.
Right. 20-4 at home, Sacramento.
The ability of Tim Duncan to get what he wants. Turn and face against the bigger man. Get him to back off. Then fake one way, go the other, and get in the air. Vlade talked about Duncan being the perfect ball player. Match that with an incredible strategy, and it all works. The reigning MVP, Tim Duncan.
Parker comes back in. Steve Kerr sits. Vlade can shoot out there. Not this one.
He hasn't been doing that much this year. His shot's not what it was in the past.
But Vlade's not playing that well. Vlade and Bibby are not having great years. And they were hoping that with Vlade, that the addition of Keon Clark was going to give him a lot of rest and keep him in the 20 to 25 minute per game night. But then Scott Pollard, who's only played a little bit, 2 games?
Yeah,
and all season. Chris Webber.
Scott hurt his back and then broke his hand when he came back from the back.
That is nice.
Why are you on these guys?
I enjoy the look. I did enjoy that look.
I was going to say, for a guy with the same haircut.
I had to say, I'm basically the same look, for crying out loud.
Rose fouled inside. Jim Jackson picks up the foul.
Well, a couple years ago, when they needed a bucket down low, it was Vlade. That was the guy that would go to down low. He just doesn't have that type of game anymore. And really, when you look at this team, if you want to go to somebody down low, Stojakovic may be your guy to get the ball down low. And somebody just got to heat up.
Well, hopefully it's Chris Webber. That's the dream.
Yeah.
Vlade with the technical.
I guess he didn't pump those guys at the restaurant last night.
No, he didn't. They were still standing in that long line.
The poise that we've seen from San Antonio, the ability to come back after being blasted out of the gates.
See right there.
All ball.
Wow. That's not even close.
But when you wind up and swing,
yeah,
it just draws the referee's attention.
Tim Tunney, he is the guy that called the technical, and a chance for Rose to tie the ball game.
He's one of the league's premier refs.
It depends on who you are when you wind up and swing. Michael Jordan wants to wind up and swing and gets all balls. That will not be a foul, believe me.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, whatever.
If it's a foul, it's called whoever it is.
Keep
whenever
singing that
it is.
song.
San Antonio's first lead of the ball game.
Bobby Jackson has not been able to get out in the open court. Transition defense, by and large, has been sufficient for San Antonio.
They're just clearing it out and let Vlade go.
Trying to go over Willis.
Too many fakes of the same shot he eventually executed.
Oh, gross.
Well, the ball movement that we saw that was so prevalent for Sacramento early has disappeared.
8:42 till halftime. San Antonio on the road in the lead again.
And San Antonio looking to try to get it done, trying to make it 8 in a row. But a guy for the Sacramento Kings, Henry Bibby, looking at his game in this play so far. You know, Mike Bibby, I'm sorry.
Oh, you going that retro tonight.
Yeah, you know, so retro
Oscar
uniform.
Robinson, the old uniforms. Hey, we got to say one thing before we go to Mike Bibby. Kevin, you played back in the old days. The shorts that those guys are wearing tonight, would Oscar Robinson ever have played in shorts like
Well,
those?
they have better bodies back in the old days, so they can't, they couldn't go retro all the way.
Keon Clark comes out in the warm-ups. He's got the long hair on, the afro, longest hair on the floor. Keon Clark also has the longest shorts on the floor. Check his shorts out when he comes back.
Okay, because they said, no, we're not going for that. But we're talking about Mike Bibby in this game. 4 points, 5 assists so far.
And if you look at the main stat we don't see, these are his team stats. 34.5 average, 16.9 points per game, 3-point shooting, 41%. Great numbers.
Yep.
All those are great numbers for a point guard. What he's brought to this team has been phenomenal. But the statistic we don't see there is he's missed 26 games already this season, just returning from a long injury.
Way up to get a hand and pull down the rebound. Bobby Jackson.
It's not as if San Antonio is playing that great as they have come back to take the lead. Sacramento has fallen apart. Where is Keon Clark?
The last 4 minutes, San Antonio 10-2 run.
Yeah. Kings have missed their last 6 shots and turned the ball over that time. And Oscar Robertson and his wife, Yvonne, currently living in Cincinnati.
Averaged a triple-double his second year in the league. Everybody talks about people having triple-doubles or a few a year. Gavin Maloof and his family hosting Oscar over there right to our right.
Kings need to get the tempo back in their favor. It's been the San Antonio tempo here to start the second quarter. They need to start getting some stops and then pushing it and getting them out in transition.
Don't forget that San Antonio has the league's best opponent's field goal percentage.
Well, that's why you want to get out in transition. You don't want to have to grind it out against these guys. It's tough to grind it out against these guys in the half court.
A lot easier said than done. They just don't ever stop working. Give great credit to Coach Greg Popovich, the environment that he's established there in San Antonio.
Jimmy Jackson picks up his second foul. Both teams' shooting has dropped off here in the second quarter.
One of the real keys for San Antonio, they don't get blown away by other teams' overwhelming athleticism.
Out of bounds, Ginobili on a move, turned it over. That's number 6 on San Antonio. So an opportunity for the home team to take the lead again this trip. We've got 7:20 remaining in the half.
Walking it up, Sacramento, not their game.
Boy, Jim Jackson to post up Malik Rose.
He's going to try. Goes baseline and got it.
I wouldn't draw that one up. That worked out pretty good for him.
But Jim Jackson, like an Oscar Robertson, obviously not at the same level, but the ability to post up big, strong guys. I mean, Oscar Robertson was magnificent in every aspect of the game.
Parker on a pull-up. Jimmy Jackson has been a great addition to this team. He and Bobby Jackson come up together. And Bobby Jackson trying to leave it for Turkoglu.
You can't pass it to yourself.
You'll drive it yourself.
That's how good a passing team they are.
You're going to lead the league in assists. You might as well assist it to yourself.
How long do you leave Tim Duncan on the bench?
Willis, did he walk? Yes.
Getting pretty close.
And Tim's taking the warm-ups off.
Not necessarily something you'd want to go to, but Jim Jackson against Malik Rose uses his quickness to fade away and create the space for him. And then, you gotta like passing to yourself, get the ball back, and by you.
And quickly they come back with the anchor on defense, Tim Duncan. Finally.
Bibby around everybody. And Parker knocked
turnover.
it out of bounds.
Good D. The more you watch Tony Parker, the better he looks. As Rick Adelman can't believe the bobbles that Sacramento is coming up with.
Duncan with 11 points, 4 boards, a couple of steals. His team trailing Sacramento, coming in with that 7-game road winning streak into Sacramento, where the Kings have won 20 and lost only 4. With Bill Walton, Tom Tolbert, Michelle Tafoya, Mike Tirico, I'm Brad Nessler.
That was lying. It's like WWF. Oh.
That's a
Oh, my.
And a technical foul on the Sacramento bench.
I think it might have been on Mike Bibby.
Duncan did a great thing here. He got pushed out behind the three-point line. He didn't call the foul. His body kept pushing. You know, in this situation, just take it to the hoop. Good call, Jim Donaghy.
Bibby was called with a technical.
Boy, I don't know. I'm saying offensive foul on that one. I mean, he squared him up pretty good on the chest right there. And I don't know if it's a makeup because he didn't call the foul when Body was in physical with him, but that's a foul.
5:48 till halftime. Sacramento at home leads by 3.
A big night of boxing. First on Sky Sports 1 at 10:30, James Hare defends his Commonwealth title. On a good right hand. And then on Sky Box Office, Tyson is back in the hunt for Lennox Lewis's heavyweight crown.
It's got to be stopped.
But first he faces Clifford the Black Rhino Etienne. Tyson fighting back. Next Saturday, Sky Box Office. See Channel 770 for ordering information or call 08705 800 888.
Last year, Hula Hoop stopped sponsoring popular spokesperson Steve Threlfall after he was caught eating a rival snack. We were very wrong, as this new evidence shows. Well, Hula Hoops wants to apologize the only way we know how.
Whatever I did, whatever I said, I didn't mean it. I just want you back for good.
Can you hear that, Steve? We want you back for good. Say yes.
Whenever I'm wrong, just tell me the song and I sing it.
Enjoy the ride. Astra from Vauxhall.
Any questions, you can hit us on that email address. And we have one from someone in Chelmsford. We didn't get the whole name on it. Sacramento changed the name of their team to the Royals. What's up with that? It's the Sacramento Kings have not changed their name to the Royals. It's a game, a tribute game to Oscar Robertson, who played for the Cincinnati Royals. We went from Cincinnati Royals to the Kansas City Kings to the Sacramento Kings. In America, they just move around. Yeah.
Any excuse for a party, though, Kevin. At the end of the day, they're looking for a party tonight at Arco Arena. They're going to honor the Big O, and the franchise would have never made it to Sacramento if it hadn't had its early days in the Cincinnati Royals franchise. The Big O, one of the greatest players in NBA history.
Okay, let's get back over there. Scores 39-36, the Kings lead.
He wishes it too, and Chris, that left ankle keeping you sidelined for a little bit longer. It's been said you might come back as early as Tuesday. When do you expect to be back?
I expect to come back the minute I feel like to play and the minute I get the clearance. Right now it's a little tough store, but, you know, God is good, so hopefully real soon.
Could it be as early as this week?
I hope so. You know, I always want to come back a little earlier than I'm advised to, but I hope so, and we'll see. Right now, it's just hard to get the strength back on the elevation, but it's coming along well.
This team has done an amazing job of overcoming injuries and continuing to win and play well. How has that been possible?
Well, we know that it's going to be short stints in which guys are out, and in those short stints, we know that everybody has to step their game up. For the long run, we all can't play without each other, so hopefully I can get back soon, and Scott can get back, and we can come back full strength.
And he wouldn't say it here, Brad, but he's dying to get back out there. So we'll let him go sit on the bench. Back to you guys.
No doubt, and the injuries keep cropping up, and as Michelle said, somehow they find a way to overcome them. Last year, the first 20 games, they went 15-5 without Weber. The first 27 games without Bibby this year, and they handled that too.
The hardest one to overcome is when Bobby Jackson doesn't play. The 22 games that he missed, they went 13-9. One of the problems that Chris Weber has is that he, as all great athletes, the urge to come back too soon. So the Kings are going to be very cautious with Chris Weber. They got to have him healthy, ready, and rolling for the playoffs this spring.
The way he was playing before he got hurt was MVP level, no doubt. And now there's guys like Garnett and Duncan and Kobe and other people that have...
Tracy McGrady. A lot of players playing perfect basketball around this league right now. And let's not forget the Golden State Warriors, how hot they are. Antoine Jameson, Gilbert Arenas.
Stojakovic off the mark. And Jackson will clear it off.
Slowly but surely, this is becoming a nice tempo for the San Antonio Spurs. A nice pace for them. You know, try to get out, not set it up, and not let this thing get crazy.
Clark and Stojakovic double team Duncan. They go right back into him. And he goes around the double team with the left hand. Not bad.
He's teasing him, toying with him, and whatever he wants to do. And his perimeter players are playing real smart with the repost action.
Divac fouled inside by Willis. As Duncan hits the crowd. Tonight, a new kind of gangster is taking over L.A. We're not talking about the Lakers. Stopping this mob will become Joe Friday's obsession. Ed O'Neill stars all new Dragnet tonight on ABC. I still don't believe that. I didn't think Duncan had enough room on the baseline to make the move he made down there on the other end.
The crowd is stunned here. They expected this to be a coronation, a celebration for Sacramento. The up and under move, the footwork, the step around. Generally, defensively, Keon Clark knows the double team is coming from the high side, force the guy back to the double team. But when Duncan is that good, what can you do about it? Except get it back on the offensive end.
San Antonio leading by 1. We're down to 4.5 in the half.
This is where he's so good. Just seeing what he wants. And then as soon as the arms come out, he initiates contact.
Found Bowen open. Clark snatches down the rebound.
San Antonio did a real nice job, too, in transition defense, knowing the Kings want to run.
Nice pass inside, a lot of traffic. But Stojakovic draws the foul on the feed off Vlade Divac.
And he banged his knee there.
Well, it makes it nice as a perimeter player to know that when you cut and you're open, big guys are going to find you. And he's more than willing to pass. So is Chris Weber when he is healthy. The best passing tandem, maybe, I don't want to say in the history of the NBA, but since I've been watching the NBA, I've never seen a 4 in Chris Weber you see right there, and a 5 in Vlade Divac that's been able to pass like these guys do.
Divac has led NBA centers in assists for 3 different teams. How many people can do it once? He did it with Charlotte and the Lakers, and here, free throws are good, and Sacramento back in front.
Which begs the question, why don't they move more without the ball? Why don't they execute change of pace, change of direction moves, first to the basket, and get wide open layups?
Inside, block shot by Clark and snatches it down, and here comes Christie on the run.
What team defense. I mean, the forwards really helping out against Doug Christie's push of the ball.
Steven Jackson gets his first foul.
A lot of peace and love in the air at Arco these days. It's hard to dislike the San Antonio Spurs. They were a unanimous selection as the most character deep team in the entire NBA.
They're the team you want to bring home to your mother, right?
Especially Tim Duncan. Oh, Jackson on the baseline. Doing it all. Duncan with the assist that time.
But the pressure is always there. The pressure is always there when the Kings are pushing the ball right here. You need to see Tim Duncan get the ball, double team, just dropped it. Just dropped it to him. Look at that. Go ahead and take it.
But the pivot that stepped right in front of Doug Christie
was a screen and an assist all in one, wasn't it?
The back screen. Love that play.
Vlade with his second field goal, his 8th point. Parker, Bibby fell down, trying to come around Tim Duncan's screen. The big guy in the lane. Nice outlet pass by Clark. Stojakovic finally found a way to get around him, but he got it blocked by Duncan.
Let the little man go by. He's got to get left to the rim sometime. When he brings it into you, you tap it away.
Parker for the lead, got it.
The quickness. I've seen him 4 or 5 times this year, and everybody that goes up against him, he's been able to get pretty much wherever he wants to, when he wants to.
He is a blur.
Talking to Bobby Jackson about the fastest guys, Tony Parker's name was right at the top of the list, along with Allen Iverson and Jason Kidd.
Timeout. San Antonio with 2:11 remaining in the half. Good one here between a 36-17 Kings team and a 35-16 Spurs club. Spurs trying to win their 8th straight on the road. Sacramento making it tough on them. This is ABC Sports, the new home of the NBA Finals.
1-point ball game. The Sacramento Kings trail by 146-45. But tonight at the Arco Arena, the Sacramento Kings are celebrating Oscar Robertson Day as a tribute to the franchise's greatest player, affectionately known as the Big O. Robertson is often referred to as the greatest all-around player in the history of basketball. The Big O is the only player in the NBA to average a triple-double for a season. In the 1961-62 campaign for the Cincinnati Royals, he averaged double figures in points, rebounds, and assists. At 6'5" and strong with it, Oscar was a tough matchup for most guards, and he was a first-team All-NBA choice for his first 9 seasons. When he retired in '74, he was the second leading scorer in NBA history. And at halftime, they will be retiring Oscar's jersey. And, you know, for me, every time they talk about all NBA teams and they want to put Magic, Michael, whoever, Oscar Robertson, for me, has to be in that top 5.
I agree, Kevin. At the end of the day, you talked about him being a 6'5" guard. It was a tough matchup at his time. He was one of the first big guards. You know, it's always been great to say, you know, you're 6 foot tall, you've got to be a guard. You can't be a center at 6 feet. But at 6'5", in his day, you could play other positions. You could be a wing, you could be a power forward. For some teams at 6'5", you could even be center back in his day. But now, you know, he came along with ball handling skills, scoring skills, and, you know, he was the forerunner of the 6'9" Magic Johnson playmaker point guard.
And the other thing that, you know, that a lot of people don't know about Oscar, he was the president of the Players Union when free agency came to the NBA. So he's one who made it available for all these guys to make all the money that they're making.
Absolutely. And one of the things, I mean, Oscar, you got to love him as a player, but he's also had enemies throughout his career. And he never had the enemies as a player, Kevin. He developed enemies when he became the president there. And all of a sudden, you know, he was very outspoken as to owners making too much, players not getting enough, the rules not working for the players. All of a sudden, Oscar had a big voice as a person off the court.
A 1-point ball game. Let's get back to it.
Antonio had 0 team fouls. The inability to get to the hoop and get that final foul to get into the bonus has really curtailed their offensive productiveness.
Duncan's outside shot off the mark.
If that would have gone.
Well, that was good to see, yeah. He was Sagovic right in his face right there.
Keon Clark's got 6 points, 5 boards, and 2 blocks.
Good step up by Duncan.
Christie got it.
You got to stay with him, though. You got to stay with him until your guard gets back to where he's supposed to be. You can't just leave.
Christie gives the Kings the lead back. Either Bibby or Clark. It's going to be on Bibby his second.
You're going to see the show right here by Tim Duncan. Real nice job showing. But he's got to go ahead and stay until Steven Jackson gets out there. And Steven Jackson can't go under him when he shows.
Your mindset as a big man stepping out in that situation, as Tim has not gotten this done twice now, is that you have to make the guard go back the other direction. Don't just step out there and slow him down or make him take another step around. You can change direction and go back to where his original defender was.
Parker's free throw puts the Spurs 9 of 10 from the stripe.
When you see Mike Bibby walking the ball up the court, that's not a good sign for Sacramento.
Christie trying to slice through and runs into a double team.
A lot of dribbling.
Still got it. Open
Offensive
shot.
foul.
And they don't like that call here, nor does the head coach.
Twice now, Doug Christie has been called for the clear out, both times against Ginobili. Over dribbling.
I don't see that.
Wow. Shoulder into the chest.
The first one I saw, I didn't see that one.
He leaned into him a little bit. A lot of guys lean into guys when they're shooting. I was looking for an extended arm by Christie. We're going to see him just kind of pull a little curly kneel, round through. Everybody's coming over, and then
where is it?
He jumps left.
The body?
If you jump left, that's a foul. You got to jump straight up.
Bogus.
Give the defense the same chance you give the offense.
Bogus.
Sacramento's got 10 turnovers this quarter. One of the reasons this crowd, as raucous as any crowd in the entire league, is just sitting there stunned on their hands.
They've only gotten into it about once, waiting for another reason. Rose has hit 5 straight free throws. It's a 3-point lead. That matches the biggest margin for San Antonio all day. Final minute. Bibby got the outside jumper.
2 for 1 time. San Antonio.
Parker over Bibby. Tough shot. Way up is Clark for the rebound.
2 for 1 Sacramento.
Clark's got 7 boards. Lonnie thinking about trying to give his team the lead. Does!
Boy, usually when you pump fake on yourself, you end up not making it, but oh man.
Neither team with a foul to give.
Final 20 seconds. Now they're up in Arco. Ginobili threw it away. Second timeout coming up for Sacramento. As Tom said, when you fake yourself out and have to pump fake 19 feet from the hoop, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, it's like, I don't really want, well, geez, it looks ridiculous if I don't. Let me go ahead and throw it up there.
The reluctance to shoot often hurts Sacramento's causes. Vlade Divac has to come out and put points on the board. They're missing so much with Chris Webber being out.
Reminder, we got a special game for you coming up tomorrow on President's Day, Toronto and Washington on ESPN at 1:30. Vince Carter against Michael Jordan. Tuesday on TNT, Houston and the Lakers. Thursday night on TNT, Indiana, New Jersey, and Boston at Sacramento is their nightcap. Friday night on ESPN, Dallas and Houston in the first game Milwaukee and Seattle, the nightcap at 10:30. That's your NBA on TV coming up this week. Full week.
Celtics undefeated on their current West Coast trip. A lot of thought back in Boston that this would not be a successful road trip. They battled through injuries and adversity throughout.
Sacramento's got the lead. They'll have it at halftime, but can they stretch it any further? Final 5 seconds. Bibby. Stojakovic for three. Jackson can't get it away. Kings were looking for a foul. So is Rick Adelman. They don't get it. And another technical on Rick Adelman as the half is closed.
The NBA has made it very clear that they are not going to tolerate any abuse of the officials. Rightfully so. David Stern standing up for the integrity of the game and the guys who call it.
Rick Adelman is gone. The officials head to the locker room. This is what they looked for. They wanted to get a foul call on Bobby Jackson inside. No foul called there. Lottie comes up to argue a bit. Then his coach does likewise. Lottie right now is with Michelle.
Lottie not liking the call so far. I know you're going to be reluctant to say too much, but what was the discussion about out there?
Well, it looks like our coach Rick got the second piece, so he's not going to be able to be with us in the second half.
All right, first of all, early on, you guys jumped out. They got back in. How did they do it?
Well, they were aggressive, especially Tim Duncan. He's really hard to stop. He draw help on the low post, so we have to double, and they have open shots from outside. They were able to score.
Outside of doubling him, do you see other opportunities to keep the ball out of his hands?
Well, hopefully, they'll miss some shots in the second half. But I think if we move the ball, I'm talking about our offense, and we'll be able to score too. So we'll see what's going to happen in the second half.
All right, thanks, Lottie. He gave them the lead at halftime. Back to you, Brad.
He gave them the lead with 10 points. Mike Tirico's up next with the Verizon Wireless halftime report.